This is the Focus Shift podcast, your best listening experience for creating your best online business. We'll focus on topics that help you get discovered. So sit back, listen, take notes if you like, and get excited about growing your business.
Imagine a high-end restaurant kitchen, right?
Yeah.
The ticket machine is just relentlessly printing out orders. Pans are clattering everywhere. Waiters are shouting over the din.
Total chaos.
Pure, concentrated chaos. And the head chef is frantically trying to plate like 5 completely different, highly complex dishes at the exact same time.
Oh, man.
Right? But the only reason the kitchen survives the dinner rush without entirely collapsing
Is the prep.
Exactly. It's because of the relentless, meticulous prep work the staff did, hours before the first customer ever walked through the door.
Yeah, you can't chop the onions while the steak is burning.
Right. And today, we're looking at a strategy guide from the PhotoBiz Growth Hub that reveals how photographers face that exact same intense chaos every single wedding season.
It's so true.
And more importantly, the mission for today's deep dive is to break down how they use those exact same kitchen prep tactics to turn an overwhelming gallery delivery process into basically a passive income machine. Welcome to today's deep dive.
And, it's a really fascinating dynamic to explore because that transition, the one from the calm, consultative off-season right into the absolute frenzy of summer bookings, it's jarring.
Oh, I bet.
The guide paints this really vivid picture, right? 1 week, photographers are casually having coffees with couples, and then the next, they are just drowning.
Drowning in what exactly?
Editing timelines, juggling massive file exports, and fielding texts from clients who are, desperate to see their photos immediately. It just becomes this massive bottleneck.
Yeah, and the beauty of this PhotoBiz guide, which is titled Prepping Your Client Galleries for Wedding Season, is that the lessons here apply far beyond just photography.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether you are a working creative staring down a mountain of summer bookings, or you're just someone fascinated by the hidden mechanics of freelance business and client management, there is a masterclass here in front-loading your work.
Yeah, the core thesis of the text is really a total paradigm shift.
How so?
Well, surviving that seasonal bottleneck isn't about learning how to shoot faster or edit quicker.
Right.
It is entirely about treating your client photo gallery as a structured, strategic asset rather than a last-minute chore.
The strategic asset.
Yeah, that is the pivotal mental shift.
Okay.
We tend to view the delivery of a service, so in this case, handing over the digital files, as the finish line.
Right. You did the work. Here's the product. Goodbye.
Exactly. But the source argues that we need to stop viewing the gallery as a digital dump of files and instead build it out ahead of time so it actually does the heavy lifting for the business while the business owner is busy doing other things.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand how to engineer a gallery that does the heavy lifting, the source insists we have to, rewind the clock way back.
Way back.
We have to start before the shutter even clicks on the wedding day.
Right.
Before a single image is ever taken, let alone delivered. The text stresses that you have to nail down your contracts and proposals first. You have to set ironclad expectations regarding coverage, delivery timelines, and exactly what physical or digital products the client is actually going to receive.
And what's fascinating here is the psychological and operational shift this creates months down the line.
What do you mean by psychological shift?
Well, defining pricing and specific offerings incredibly early obviously protects the business legally. I mean, that is standard practice.
Okay.
But the real mechanism at play is how it completely changes the dynamic of the final delivery.
Okay.
When the contract handles all the heavy lifting up front, the gallery delivery stops feeling like this chaotic transactional scramble where the client is, confused about what they owe or what they get.
Right.
Instead, as the text beautifully puts it, the delivery becomes a natural continuation of a professional experience.
A natural continuation. It makes me think of the cognitive friction involved in any kind of transaction. It's like setting the rules of a board game before you roll the dice.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Or it's like a toll booth on a highway. If the client has an easy pass, meaning the contract is already signed, the terms are clear, expectations are set, they cruise right through that emotional high of receiving their gallery, and they just enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
Maybe they even buy a print. But if they have to stop, dig for quarters, and negotiate the toll with you over email because the deliverables weren't clear,
Traffic backs up.
the traffic backs up, and all that positive momentum is completely dead. But wait, let me ask you this. If contracts are primarily about legal protection, How does that actually save the photographer time when they're actively editing a wedding months later?
That easy pass analogy actually perfectly captures the workflow mechanics here. Think about the actual cost of communication lag for a freelancer.
Yeah.
If a photographer is sitting at their desk in, say, June, heavily focused on editing, and they have to draft an email saying, "Here are your photos, by the way. Did you want to buy an album? Here is my pricing PDF."
Ugh, that sounds exhausting.
Right. And then the client gets confused, emails back, asking if the album was included in their package. The photographer has to stop editing, switch contexts, pull up the old file, and draft a polite negotiation email.
Wow. Yeah, that context switching just destroys a creative's hourly rate. You're stepping out of deep creative work to do basic administrative haggling.
Precisely. And that back and forth takes days. By defining everything in the contract in January, the photographer just hits send in June.
Because the parameters are already known.
Yes. The time saved isn't just in typing emails. It is the total elimination of decision fatigue and negotiation from the absolute most stressful part of the year.
So the foundation is entirely about clearing the road and removing those toll booths. But once that easy pass lane is completely clear, where does it actually lead?
To the storefront.
Right. The source material demands a total rebrand of what the destination actually is. And here's where it gets really interesting. The article explicitly tells photographers your gallery isn't just a delivery method, it's a storefront.
And this is where the strategy shifts from just administrative preparation to active commercial engineering.
Yeah, and to make that storefront work, the guide insists you have to set up your price lists before you upload a single image.
Crucial step.
You don't wait until the photos are ready. You go in early, create a specific price list just for weddings, update your current offerings, and decide exactly what physical and digital products couples can actually buy.
You build the shelves before you stock the inventory.
Exactly.
And the word storefront is critical because it implies curation.
How so?
Think about the psychological difference between walking into a highly curated, high-end boutique versus walking into a chaotic, fluorescent-lit discount warehouse.
Oh yeah, huge difference.
The boutique doesn't throw every piece of clothing they own into a pile on the floor. They curate.
Right, they put like 3 perfectly matched items on a nice rack.
Exactly. And the text strongly advocates for this strategy. By pre-selecting specific prints, specific sizes, album upgrades, and wall art, the photographer is actively guiding the client's purchasing journey.
You are essentially building a custom catalog. But let's dig into the psychology of that for a second.
Sure.
If a photographer has access to a print lab that offers, 5,000 different items, mugs, keychains, 50 different canvas sizes, metal prints, wood prints, why wouldn't they just offer everything?
It's a common trap.
Doesn't giving the client more options increase the chance that they'll find something they want to buy?
It seems logical, right? But behavioral psychology, specifically Hick's law, tells us the exact opposite.
Hick's law.
Yeah. Hick's law states that the more choices a person has, the longer it takes them to make a decision.
Oh, interesting.
In a retail environment, too many choices lead directly to cognitive overload. When a couple is staring at a massive, stunning gallery of their wedding, their emotional brain is already highly stimulated.
Right. They're reliving the day.
Exactly. If you then present them with a catalog of 5,000 different products, they will freeze. It's too much work to filter through the options.
Yeah.
Curation actively removes that paralysis.
So you're simplifying it for them.
You are telling the client, as the expert, I have selected the absolute best ways for these specific images to be displayed.
Wait, hold on. I understand the psychology of preventing decision fatigue, but we are talking about a highly emotional moment here.
Mm-hmm.
A couple is sitting on their couch, they're pouring a glass of wine, reliving the most important day of their lives through these photos. Doesn't suddenly hitting them with a monetized storefront and a curated product list instantly kill the vibe we just worked so hard to build?
That is the big fear.
Right. Is there a danger of being way too salesy here?
This raises an important question about how creatives often view sales as inherently sleazy or intrusive.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels counterintuitive, but the logic in the source text counters that fear beautifully. Curating a seamless storefront doesn't ruin the emotional moment. It actually protects it.
Wait, how does selling them a canvas protect their emotional state? That sounds wild.
Because it provides an immediate, frictionless, physical outlet for the emotion they are feeling in that exact second.
Okay, walk me through that.
Imagine a client sees a stunning, candid photo of their grandmother laughing during the reception.
A great moment.
They have a profound emotional reaction to it. If the gallery is just a digital dump, they have to break that emotional state, open a new tab, draft a clinical email to you, ask if you sell 8x10 prints, ask how much they cost, and ask how to pay you.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the friction completely kills the impulse.
Exactly. The toll booth pops up again.
Right.
But with a curated storefront, they don't have to talk to you at all. They just click a button on that photo, order the beautifully framed print right there, and go seamlessly back to looking at the rest of their gallery.
And so they stay in the zone.
It empowers the client to act on their emotion immediately. And for the photographer, it creates a powerful mechanism for passive sales.
Because they're doing it themselves.
Right. The couple places that order at midnight on a Tuesday, the software processes the transaction and sends it to the lab, and the photographer generates revenue while they are entirely focused on shooting their next wedding or just sleeping.
That is brilliant. By being proactive and building the storefront, you're actually getting entirely out of the client's way.
Exactly.
You're letting the system handle the transaction so the client can stay in their feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the foundation built, the easy pass lane is clear, we have the storefront priced and curated to prevent decision fatigue.
Yep.
But a storefront only works if the customer can actually find what they are looking for. Which brings us to organizing the inventory.
Which is a monumental task when you consider the sheer volume of data in a modern wedding gallery.
Oh, for sure. The source makes it very clear you cannot just dump hundreds of photos into one endless scroll.
It's a nightmare.
They highly recommend using gallery sections or folders to intuitively break up the narrative of the day. And they give very specific examples of how to map this out, right? Creating dedicated folders for getting ready, the ceremony, wedding party, bride and groom portraits, reception, and details.
It is entirely about user experience, or UX.
Yeah, because a disorganized gallery is basically like dumping a 1,000-piece puzzle on a table and telling the client good luck.
That's exactly what it feels like. If you just hand over a single folder with 1,000 images, you are creating a massive cognitive load for the client. They have to endlessly scroll to find anything.
Right.
But the text makes a crucial observation here. The UX doesn't just impact the couple, it profoundly impacts the extended network.
Oh, because weddings are incredibly communal events. The
Yeah.
couple isn't the only one looking at this gallery.
Precisely. Once the couple has viewed the photos, they are going to share that link with their parents, their bridal party, and their extended family.
Obviously.
So if an aunt only cares about the family portraits taken right after the ceremony, the couple can simply send her the direct link to that specific folder.
That is so smart.
She doesn't have to wade through 200 photos of the groomsmen getting dressed just to find the one photo of her family.
And more importantly, if we tie this back to the storefront strategy, she doesn't get frustrated and give up. She finds her photo instantly, has that emotional reaction we talked about, and clicks Buy on the curated print list. You are actively lowering the barrier to purchase for the entire extended network of the couple.
You are capturing passive sales from people you never even met.
Wow.
And beyond just the revenue, an intuitively organized gallery feels thoughtful. That thoughtfulness reflects directly and positively on the photographer's brand equity.
Because it's a good experience.
Right. Your brand isn't just your logo, your website, or your editing style. Your brand is fundamentally how easy you make your clients' lives. When the delivery is organized, seamless, and frictionless, the clients perceive you as a high-end professional.
And when they perceive you as a high-end professional who made their lives incredibly easy, who are they going to recommend when their best friend gets engaged next month?
You.
Exactly. The thoughtful organization is literally a marketing tool in itself.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've got a beautifully organized, easily navigable, monetized storefront that tells the narrative of the day perfectly and encourages passive sales.
Almost done.
Almost. But there is one final step the PhotoBiz guide insists on before you officially open the doors to the public. You have to lock it down.
Security and professionalism. It is a vital step that often gets completely overlooked in the frantic rush to just get the files out the door.
The guide highlights using their software tools to add password protection and watermarks to these client galleries. But I have to challenge this logic for a second because it feels like a contradiction.
Okay, let's hear it.
We just spent 20 minutes talking about removing friction. You want the easy pass lane open. We want them to buy effortlessly and share easily with their extended network.
True.
Doesn't slapping a giant corporate watermark across a beautiful portrait and putting a password wall in front of the gallery completely contradict the frictionless experience we just built? Doesn't that kill the vibe?
It is a very fair critique, and Honestly, it is a debate a lot of creatives have.
Yeah.
But we have to look at the reality of how digital images are actually consumed and distributed in the wild.
Okay, what's the reality?
The expert consensus in the text clarifies that because wedding galleries are shared so widely, often rippling out to friends, coworkers, and distant acquaintances on social media protection, is absolutely paramount for both the client and the creator.
Let's break those down.
Yeah.
Why does wide sharing make passwords necessary if the couple is the one doing the sharing?
Because a password establishes a necessary boundary. A wedding day includes deeply personal, vulnerable moments.
Right.
People are crying, they are getting dressed, intimate letters are being read. The couple might want their parents and best friends to see the entire unfiltered narrative of the day, but they probably do not want their second cousin's new boyfriend casually scrolling through the bride's getting ready photos.
Oh, yeah. That makes total sense.
By putting a password on the gallery, you put the control of access firmly back in the couple's hands. They get to dictate who enters the storefront.
That reframes it perfectly. It's not a barrier to the client. It's a boundary that protects the client.
Yeah.
But what about the watermarks? How does putting a logo over the image benefit the experience? Because a lot of people think they just look ugly.
Watermarks serve a very specific dual purpose in a digital storefront. First, they act as a gentle behavioral nudge.
A nudge to do what?
If that extended family member, let's say an uncle, wants a specific photo, the watermark discourages him from just taking a low-resolution screenshot on his phone and printing it cheaply at a local drugstore. It nudges him toward the storefront to actually purchase a high-quality, color-calibrated print from the professional lab.
Which protects the physical quality of the work out in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want terrible pixelated drugstore prints of your photography hanging in someone's house with your name attached to it.
Exactly. You are protecting the integrity of your art. And secondly, it protects the photographer's intellectual property while clients browse. It establishes a professional boundary that signals these are crafted pieces of art with tangible value, not just free digital commodities. When a watermark is applied elegantly, not obtrusively, but clearly, it doesn't ruin the vibe.
It's like a VIP rope.
Exactly. It actually reinforces the fact that the couple hired a true professional who values their own work enough to protect it.
So what does this all mean? We've walked through the entire architecture. The contracts, the curated price list, the intuitive folders, the security protocols.
That's a lot of prep.
It is. But for you listening right now, whether you are a creative professional knee-deep in editing a massive project or just someone looking to optimize the workflow in your own career, the overwhelming lesson from this strategy guide is that a little prep goes a profoundly long way.
Absolutely.
By setting up those contracts to clear the road, building out curated price lists early, creating organizational folders, and locking down security up front, you fundamentally change the nature of your busy season.
You take control of it.
Right. It translates directly to less administrative stress for you, more passive sales happening in the background, and ultimately a much higher-end experience for your clients.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights a profound truth about working for yourself in any capacity. True professional freedom doesn't come from just grinding harder in the moment.
You can't just hustle your way out of it.
Exactly. You cannot outwork a bad system when the dinner rush hits. True freedom comes from taking the time, when things are quiet, to build intelligent systems that do the heavy lifting for you in the background when things inevitably get chaotic.
You build the machine so the machine can do the work.
Beautifully said.
But before we wrap up today, looking at this whole concept of the gallery as a monetized automated storefront, it leaves me with a final, slightly provocative thought to ponder.
Oh, I like provocative thoughts.
The guide focuses entirely on prepping for the upcoming wedding season,
Yeah.
right? But if treating a gallery as an active, curated storefront generates passive income while you sleep, what would happen if a photographer applied this exact same strategy in reverse?
Wait, what do you mean in reverse?
What if you went back into your archives? Think about the galleries from 1, 2, or even 5 wedding seasons ago.
Okay.
Those couples have anniversaries coming up. Their families have grown. They might have moved into a new house with empty walls.
Oh, wow.
What if a photographer took a quiet week in the off-season to reorganize those old, forgotten, dusty digital galleries using these exact same principles?
I see where you're going with this.
You go in, update the pricing to your current rates, curate brand new wall art options, add some intuitive folder organization, and send the past clients a new password with a nice anniversary message.
It is.
Could applying these foundational prep steps to old work instantly create a brand new stream of revenue from past clients who are finally ready to buy that big canvas for their living room.
You're essentially taking an archived, dead file and resurrecting it as an active storefront. That is a brilliant way to leverage existing assets.
It's just a thought for all of you to chew on. The tools are already built into the software, and the photos are already taken. It just takes a little prep work to clear the lane.
Yeah, the heavy lifting is already done.
Exactly, because as we've learned today, whether you're trying to survive the dinner rush in a chaotic kitchen or you're trying to deliver a flawless experience to a client during the peak of wedding season, the secret to surviving the chaos always starts long before the doors ever open. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
The Focus Shift podcast is presented by PhotoBiz, the best website solution for photographers. Whether you're launching your site or scaling your online business, PhotoBiz has your back. To get started for free, visit photobiz.com today.